Billie Jean's in the kitchen, cooking up a feast. Mama's at the table, her worries have ceased. She's helping all her neighbors, never turning away, discussing different views, brightening up their day.
Morning, I'm trying to get our macaroni and cheese done so I can get it in the oven. Did the cranberries and now I'm doing the macaroni and cheese. So what I did is I took this 16-ounce package of large elbow macaroni and I only used half of it. That'd be about eight ounces because we don't need all that macaroni. Now on this stove I've put a pan of water. Now I've had people ask me, do I get my water to boil before I add my macaroni? Not when it's a chef stabled macaroni, like a dried macaroni like you buy at the store. No, you put it in with your water and let it heat up together. If I was making fresh noodles or using my noodle press or any of that, and it's all from fresh flour, then I would get my water up to boil. But anytime you have a noodle that's pre-packaged from the store, you don't have to bring that water to a boil. They need that extra time of bathing in the water to be able to get soft and plump up. So you don't have to worry about that. So now we're going to let this just get to a boil, and then we will get it al dente, which to the tooth, where it's soft enough but not falling apart. I'll be back. I decided, y'all, to kill two birds with one stone, or I'm going to be in here all day trying to cook and do these different recipes. I've got my noodles back here. We're gonna combine the macaroni and cheese and the green beans in one video because I just cannot sit and do. If I split it, then you'll know why. Then you'll know why Billie Jean did it. I'm just gonna get me some butter, about that much. Put it in my pan. Okay. I got that butter just kind of frying there in that pan, getting into kind of a brown butter. I'm going to open, y'all know I love these frozen onions. Yes, I do. So I'm just going to get me a little handful of frozen onions. Put them in my pan. Put them in my pan with my butter. See how that's kind of browning? Now these, I'm going to tell you, nobody will know that these are from canned green beans. I buy these Allen's Italian green beans. I take my can with the juice. Don't drain the juice. You put it in your pot. Now, usually I would take some bacon and brown in that, which I still can do. I guess I could. Let me get me a little. Let me just set that off a second. I'll show you. Okay, I just put some pieces of bacon in this little pan. Stir our noodles. Now those are fluffing up there. Okay, that's fried enough. Put our pan back over here. Just take our little, dump it in there. A little bean juice. There you go. Now that'll give you some good flavor there. That'll give you some good flavor. And we're going to turn those up. We want them to, we'll put about, oh, I'd say a teaspoon salt. Pepper, same thing. So now you've got your onions, your green beans, but we're going to let them cook down and make their own syrup. Now beans can make syrup. When that cooks, all that bean juice cooks down, you want them to boil the fire out of them. Now we're going to have to get this up here back on the front. Y'all, I'll be so glad one day when I get my big kitchen back. I'm just thankful for what I have, though. You know, that's the main thing. As long as we are thankful for what we have, then we are really living in high cotton, because there's a lot more people worse off than you or me. If you just look around, sometimes we feel down and depressed, and you know what? Just drive through a town. It'll show you how blessed you are. Well, them are getting big there. Let's move our pans. Let's switch out, babies. Let's switch them out. And we'll check those in just a minute to see if they're... Look at that. See, that's good. We can take them off. You don't want to... I'm going to put them in my strainer. You do not want those to sit in that water at all. I've even put them in an ice bath when I'm making something very crucial with a noodle. We're not going to do that today. We want them to stop. We want them to stop their cooking. So, now, let me get some more butter out. Okay. Now, there's our noodles. We're going to always like to take some butter, just stick it and just coat my noodles kind of with the butter. Okay. And I'll show you the reason for that here in a minute. We're just coating our noodles really well. You can do this even with a little spray oil. Now we're going to get our cheese out. Okay. Instead of Parmesan, I have this grated cottage cheese, queso. It's the same as Mexican Parmesan. And what I do is I just sprinkle that all around there and coat my noodles. That's what the butter does. It coats your noodle. That's good to serve just like that with salt and pepper. The stir beans, we gotta let that get to boiling so we can cook them down. Oh, okay. Let me get our, I'm gonna use our I've got, I'll be right back. Let me get my other bacon dish. Okay, I got my bacon dish now. This is my Preheat bacon dish. Now I'm gonna take my macaroni. I'm just gonna place it all of it down in here. Now, we'll set that aside for just a minute until we get our I'm going to turn my pot back on. Now I'm going to get me a half a cup of milk. Put that in there. Then I'm going to get me a carnation evaporated milk, whole can. Okay, I'm going to add that to my pot, the whole can of my evaporated milk. Let that be heating up there. Stir the beans. We want them to cook on down there. Okay, I'm gonna get me two brown eggs, or 2 eggs. Doesn't matter if they're pink or purple, as long as they're eggs. Okay. Now let me get me a little whisk up here. I guess I'll use the baby whisk. Okay, I'm going to just pour that in my milk mixture. I'm going to put a teaspoon and a half pepper. So there's 1, and there's a half. Let me get a teaspoon and a half granulated sugar. There's a teaspoon and a half. Now we'll do a half teaspoon of salt. Okay, Alright, then we stir these beans. Put them down there. We just let that get our this to boiling here, cooked. We want to cook this on down pretty good. Well, it just combined. So that's combined. It's kind of thickened up a little bit. Okay. Now you don't want to get that to where it's too thick or anything. I'll be right back. I'm going to let this cool down just a hair and get my cheese. I found it easier than trying to put it in my big pan. I'm going to put my 8 ounces, and I use this thick cut 4 cheese, Mexican cheese. I use about an ounce of my cheddar cheese. It's whatever cheese you have. Then I'll even add some of the queso cheese. And I'll mix this. It's just in my mixture that I put on the stove. Now then, I'm going to add that to my dish right here. I had to let the cat in because it's so cold. So I'm going to put this in here. Like this. Spread that down. Spread that around over my macaronis. Like that. Now the recipe calls for Velveeta, but I didn't get any, so that's why I'm just doing it the way I'm doing it. So the recipe will have Velveeta, and you can use that if that's what you want. Now I'll just take my other cheese. Add that. To this. And I think that's got our dish ready to go in our oven. And we'll bake that about 350 for 35 minutes in a regular oven. And we'll stir our beans. See now that's cooking down into that their own juice. You want to just get that down to really a syrupy. I'll be back. Okay, let's check our beans. Y'all see how that's cooking on down there in its own juice. I haven't done nothing to them. They're just boiling down, and that's what you want. Just boil them until they don't want to boil no more. Trying to get the kitchen cleaned up. I'll be back. Okay, you see now, let me cut that off. Put the old teapot back to their water done. Now you see how all that juice has cooked out. bacon, all that. See how it just kind of makes little. Now those are going to be some of the best green beans. Nobody will ever know that you didn't pick them in the garden. So we're just going to set them here till we get ready to eat our lunch. And that's what we're going to do. Now we're waiting on the macaroni and cheese. Okay, there's our green beans, y'all. I didn't make a whole lot because there's so much stuff at Thanksgiving that people, use. I'm going to use a piece of foil. People have so much food, it's unreal. So I'm just going to put the green beans underneath that when I get ready to go. And I'm just going to put a lid on them. I like to get my ducks in a row so I know what I'm doing. So there's our green beans. Now let me get our macaroni and cheese out. We'll look at it. How about that? It's hot. It's hot, y'all. There's our macaroni and cheese. Sure is. It's hot, 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 hot. And then I'll put my red bread on top of that. So then I'll put it in my, I get one of those fruit box, not fruit boxes, the shorter ones, and then I put a piece of, like a dish towel down in there, and I lay this on top, and then I've got our cranberry sauce in our bowl. And I've had it in the refrigerator since this morning when I did the first video. I've got our cranberry sauce ready, I got our green beans, and I got our macaroni and cheese. I'm going to set this out. It's been in the icebox long enough. And then I'm going to take my brother-in-law a jar of these that I canned yesterday, jalapenos, so I'll set them out. And then I'm going to take him a jar of this cranberry pecani, and I'm going to set that out. So, now we've got everything ready to get our clothes on. Mother's in there getting herself ready, and I'm going to get myself ready. I'm going to box this up, and then we're going to go have Thanksgiving. I wish y'all the best day that you can have today. Hope you have enough to eat. And as I always say, if y'all were here, we'd cook some ham and turkey and chicken, and we'd have all this plus much more. But we're all so blessed to be alive and have each other in our families and our friends, and I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving from Mom and I. We care. We love you. Bye-bye.